welcome to your December tarot reading. It's Allie, Friendly Mystic. If you're new or old here, it's wonderful to have you. It's wonderful to be able to share energy and space with you. I'm so blessed to be able to do this, so thank you for being here. Now, if you are familiar with YouTube tarot readings or familiar with my YouTube tarot readings, you can go to this timestamp to skip straight into the reading if you'd like. Otherwise, if you're new to this, or maybe you're new to my channel and you just want to know what my intentions are going into reading, or maybe a little bit of the way I think about tarot readings, we can go over a couple things. I like to go over a couple things to start with. So this reading is for Aries Sun, Moon, Rising, as well as any other particularly important Aries placements you might have. That's going to depend on your chart. That's going to depend on your knowledge of astrology and how impactful a planet is in your chart. So that's really going to vary a lot with people. So if you're interested in that, maybe do some study on astrology. I'm sure there are tons of channels that will help you do that. I will put together a small guide, I think, of how to pick some of those, but that's to come. It just hasn't come out yet. Otherwise, yeah, Sun, Moon, Rising, really easy. Also, my readings are timeless, so this reading is meant to find you when it finds you. I don't see why something like a video, which is evergreen and never deteriorates, would ever need to be, just, I don't see why I would constrain my reading that way. It just doesn't make sense to me. So this reading is posted in the month of December. It's not about the month of December necessarily for you. If the title of this video is what drew you in, then very likely this reading is for you. And I'm just getting itchies up here. Sometimes my crown likes to go off when my spirit guides are around. Maybe that was just an itch. Who knows? So yeah, timeless. Don't get caught up on the time frame it's posted in. If you find this a year from now, months from now, whenever you find it, if it's resonating with you, it's resonating. My readings are also general. I don't have the ability to read for every single Aries placement all at once. I can only really read for people who resonate with me or are vibrating on the same frequency as me, so that I'm basically I think when you find a tarot reader online and they have a message for you, it's hard to get that message from other people, maybe even if somebody else is saying that, if they're vibrating at a completely different frequency from you. Kind of like someone tells you, get a bunch of advice from someone you don't like, and then somebody you like tells you the same advice, and you're like, yeah, I should do that. Maybe it's a little like that. Also, I set the intention during my reading to be for those, so that the reading is intended for those that need it. So this isn't really just an entertainment. It's not really for entertainment purposes. It's really going to be for people who need to hear this message from me. And that might be one person, that might be thousands of people. Really, really depends. If I'm helping just one person with my videos, that is more than enough for me. Last thing I'd like to cover is the use of the terminology feminine and masculine, just to be sure. I know a lot of people understand this, but I know that there's still a lot of baggage around these words because of how we use them to describe gender. If I'm describing somebody as a feminine energy, or I'm saying this person has a lot of feminine energy, I'm not describing their genitalia or their gender identity, or gender presentation for that matter. I'm describing the energy that they exhibit with, like, most prominently within the situation they're in. So some situations call for you to be very aggressive, to stand up for yourself, to confront people, while other situations may call for comfort, call for understanding, compassion. So it really depends on what the situation is, because I mean, you as a person have feminine and masculine energy within you, and we all have that in different proportions, but you're going to utilize the energy that is either the one that comes most readily to you in a certain situation, or if you are using it with intentionality, the energy that is most useful or most beneficial in that situation. So that will change. The way you display your energy changes based on your circumstances. Excuse me, I just had a dinner and it's like it wants to just jump. I get hiccups pretty easily, so I have to be very careful about how I eat. But I think that's it for the little rundown. I hope that was helpful. I'm trying to condense this down so that it's helpful but not too long. But anyway, so I like to draw. So to get in your reading, let's get into that. I like to draw a major arcana card to encapsulate the reading, so to describe the energy around a reading, as well as any major life lessons that are coming through the situation I'm reading about. So if you, that'll differ for people, I guess. If maybe it's only describing the energy, maybe it's describing the life lesson as well. That just take what resonates and leave the rest. But I tend to find these very helpful in setting the tone for a reading. So, source, spirit guides, guardian angels, benevolent ancestors, please help me to connect with the collective of Aries and communicate the messages in their highest good. Source, spirit guides, benevolent ancestors, please help me to connect with the collective of Aries and communicate the messages in their highest good. Source, spirit guides, benevolent ancestors, please help me to connect the collective of Aries, communicate the messages in their highest good. This one. Ooh. Aries. So, I pulled the death card for you. So we're probably going through some major painful transformation, unfortunately. I mean, the death card's a great, like, everyone has to go through some types of death in their life. Things have to end always, but yeah, I don't get the sense that this is easy at all. There could be a physical death that's prompting a inner evaluation and a need for letting go of something, a major shift. I see that it's upright, so I feel like this is an active process right now for you. A letting go that's needing to happen. I think a lot of the time when we talk about the death card, we get caught up on like, oh, it's about transformation, you're going to be reborn. We want to skip the nasty, disgusting, decomposing. We want to get past the ugliness, the pain really quickly. But I think that there's so much in the pain, and there's so much for you there, that I would think you would be remiss to not embrace what it is, even if it's extremely painful. So I think you're going through some tough stuff, Aries, or this Aries group I'm reading for. I know this is actually, I'm an Aries rising, so this is particularly true for me. We'll see if the reading is similar, but also, if you're interested in this deck, I don't have this listed yet, but I do plan on probably releasing this personal deck of mine. I do want to share this deck because it's one that I collaged myself, and this has been serving me very well so far. But so, death. That's what we're dealing with, Aries. All right. So let's get into the rest of your reading then. All right, Aries, I have your 2 decks picked out. I like to use a tarot deck for the main spread, and then use a oracle deck for some advice at the end of the reading. So we'll set this aside. This is the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Krans. It's a wonderful deck. And then your main deck is just a regular, your good old Rider-Waite. Now, I did notice when I first pulled this deck out, you'll see that I have it upright right now, but the first card I saw was the Emperor in reverse. And that gives me, like, Aries, this is your card, right? I mean, the ram heads are all over the place. I don't know if you can see that right there. So, I think there is something amiss with you. If this is a timely reading for you, then this may have something to do with the Mars still in its shadow. I believe it's still in its shadow. It's still in Aries, so it will be. because the last degree it covered before going retrograde was the 29th degree. So, or like 20, I think it was 28th degree. So we still have some Mars and Aries to deal with, and I think we might not be able, we're not harnessing that energy properly, or we don't know where to put it now, because like we were going through Mars retrograde, and now we're going through Mars retrograde, and it was difficult. It was like having no energy at all, and now suddenly it's like, oh, things are, you got your energy back, you're kind of back in motion, and you're kind of like, oh, but what do I do with it? That might not be for everybody, but that is something that came through. What messages do you have for Aries? What messages do you have for Aries? What messages do you have for Aries? Ooh, okay. I usually like to read about up to 4 cards at a time, so the first card we see out is the the 5 of Swords, sorry. The Fool, which is also very Aries energy. Temperance, Upright, and the Page of Pentacles. Interesting. I mean, immediately I feel like this is about a conflict. An unwise use of Martian energy. I know that the swords are air, but this is definitely a fight, a confrontation, which is very Aries. And these two interesting figures. I don't feel like, I do feel like we're feeling fresh, feeling new. After Mars Station Direct, or, you know, whenever you find this, I feel like we're feeling fresh and new. Perhaps not seeing potential pitfalls or things because we're feeling so energized now after going through a period of a lack of energy. This feels like a very stuck energy. This feels, I don't know if spinning the wheels is really the right word, but kind of this, not really knowing where to start beforehand. Or we're still feeling like even though we feel this freshness, we're able to defeat conflict as it comes up. Finding a balance is really where it becomes an issue. I see it upright, and I feel like you have some conscious knowledge of this. You're aware that there's a lack of balance, and I think it's within this Page of Pentacles here. Now let's keep pulling. Interesting. Any other messages for Aries? What messages do you have for Aries? Up here. I feel like there's an offer being made and there's just a complete running away. You know what I mean? Kind of, I like, this is such a retreat. This is such a moving forward from this. Somebody wanted to give you something, but you didn't want to receive. I feel like a Page of Pentacles is very willing to receive something new, willing to receive a new offer and take something in, particularly as it relates to money. But here it feels like it came with some emotional attachment and you were just absolutely not there for it. You were much more willing to hold on to what you had and much more concerned with what's the security that you already possessed that you weren't willing to allow something new to come in. And it's interesting because I see this cup here, and the whole, uh, the whole thing, I guess, I don't know. The way I interpret the Eight of Cups often is there's this missing, something is missing here, and it's almost like this person wanted to give you that missing bit, but you were really unwilling to take it from them, and it kind of led you to run back or back away, really get out, like you just wanted to get out of Dodge. That's how I feel about this Six of Swords. Oh, I'm seeing that my light is a little too bright. How do I do this? No. 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 Yes. I guess. That's probably about as good as it's gonna get. Sorry for that. I do want to make sure you can see the cards. I think the one thing that's really puzzling me is this Temperance card. You could also, this could be for another group of Aries, is that there's a lot of conflict around somebody who is, not acting. It's kind of a juvenile energy, kind of a, almost, for some reason, I'm getting like someone who is way too fresh to what they're doing, but acts like a know-it-all. In regards to work, or potentially in regards to financial matters, building something. It's physical, right? But you're kind of just like zen in the center of this conflict. Interesting. I'm not sure if those two connect somehow. We'll see. I just heard fighting your way out of a paper bag. Like, I'm not entirely sure what, like, in regards to this Five of Swords, but, like, you fought your way out of something. Not just a paper bag per se, but, like, you fought your way out of something, or you felt like, you fought, you went through this conflict, this battle, this fight, to the bitter end in order to get this fresh start. And perhaps there's some conflict here in regards to this conflict, where you wanted to be very even and balanced and not stir conflict, but another part of you is like, I need to get the hell out of here. I need to break away from this. I need a fresh start. I don't want to be attached, or I don't want to be attached. I don't want to be held down. I don't want to be held back by any of this. And the only way to do that is to completely and utterly demolish whatever this represents for you. Could be a fight with somebody, could be like completely ending something for good, in a kind of Five of Swords way, where like you are not having a relationship. If this is you, Aries, you are not having a relationship with these two figures in the background any longer. They will not pester you anymore. And I'm wondering if that has anything to do with this offer. This offer you received. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I'm connecting these energies now. It's this Page of Pentacles is that someone unopened, are not willing to receive something new, especially if it's a tangible, real offer, unable to appraise the value of it. And that's kind of where this Knight of Cups is the offerer. I did see them kind of looking at each other when they first came out on the table. So somebody came forward to you with an offer, and you were not in a place to receive this offer because of a conflict you were struggling with learning or knowing how to deal with it. One part of you wanted a fresh start, one part of you wanted to find peace in the chaos, and it made it really not, you could not be present for whatever it is this knight wanted to give you, this cup. This knight wanted to offer you to complete your 8 into a set of 9. It's almost like you just didn't trust it. I think there's a level of trust. You just didn't trust it at all. Because you're probably really used to dealing with conflict. Anything else? What else? What else do we have to say to Aries? I hope you can see this card. I know I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with just the Rider-Waite, so I know there's glare on it. Oh. Oof. A real standoff. Oh. And then the World. Yeah. Oh. 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 What's happening here? Let's scooch cards over. So we have a Two of Swords in reverse, the World, the Four of Swords in reverse, and a Five of Wands. Yeah, that feels like, I feel like these are mirroring each other in some way. The reason you don't want to let go of the stability you already have and aren't willing to accept anything new is because there's a lack of trust, a lack of being able to see, and a lack of being able to make a definitive decision, because that definitive decision would create such a fixed energy. It would be the no return, like the point of no return. You would not be able to go back on this decision. And I feel like there's a lot of unrest about it, like the Four of Swords in reverse with the Five of Wands, like lots of unrest, really unable to reconcile it, unable to even take a moment. I think you're being asked to take just a minute and get away from this sort of internal battle or struggle. And maybe you have lots of voices around you that are making it really hard to get centered and find you and what you want all up in this, but it's really preventing you. This energy, whether this is internal or external, or it's likely both, is going to prevent you from making a clear choice because you're afraid of going forward. You can't see it. You don't have the trust to accept anything new. So yeah, that's why you can't accept this offer at all. There's just no space for you to even make the decision. Yeah, to go from an 8 to a 9 energy is really the energy of completion as well. And I see the 8 cups here, and then the 9, the 9th one coming from the Knight. And yeah, you just don't have that. So I do think, I mean, I was picking up earlier that you knew you needed, you know you need some balance in regards to this. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to come to the conclusion you want. Even if you make the right choice, quote unquote, not being in the right state of mind when you make it almost guarantees that you won't feel confident about that choice. So I think sometimes we get caught up on what the right decision is, or we get caught up on what's the best outcome, that we don't think about making the choice in the best state of mind, or making the choice with confidence regardless. So, interesting. I think this is what the death energy is surrounding, is the death of that letting go, the death of a lack mentality, of fear, of scarcity, and then a death of like this avoidant running fear. I almost feel like you were moving forward on something and it got serious, and then you retreated back to where you were. That's kind of like you were moving towards something, or you thought you were anyway. You were moving towards something you thought you were, and then, this person or this offer whatever that is to you came in and you were like, nope, I don't trust that. Absolutely not. I'm leaving. I'm going back to where I know it's safe. So there's a lot of doubt about whether or not this is for you or you're able to do it, which is not like you, Aries. Usually you wanting to do, and that's probably the Emperor in reverse I was seeing, is that Aries is like very willing to start things. Cardinal Fire is like the most like impulsive. Aries is the most impulsive and willing to just jump into stuff. So it's very interesting. You're going through this point in your life where you much rather go back to something fixed and stable. But that's ultimately probably what made you the most unhappy and why you moved in the first place. Any other messages for Aries? Any other messages for Aries? It's just so much, Aries. I'm gonna have to figure out how to stop this glare because it bothers me. But that's no issue right now. Ooh. I'm not taking all those, but I think really it's to let it go, let it die. I will take the death card. I won't take the rest. Put that right there. That's just more confirmation. Yeah, the begging for what you once had won't keep it alive. It won't bring it back. You can't go back to that. A death is a finality. And ultimately it's peaceful. I feel like, I mean, like, when I mean peaceful, I mean that the death card is not one of malice. It's not one of, hatred or anger. It really isn't. It gives peace to those it touches. Death is a friend. We just forget because it's so subjectively upsetting and so subjectively painful for us to go through. But we need to be willing to let it go. Let it go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. It's not coming back. You gotta move forward. Stop being a scaredy cat. That's not like you, Aries. That's not like you, Aries. Not at all. Okay. Any other messages? Any other messages? I would like some more cards. What else? What's this offer about? There we go. What's this offer about? Ooh. Well, the first card I saw was the Two of Pentacles, so it does feel like something that I think there's a part of you that feels like you would be really off kilter and not able to handle it. And there's a sense of you not wanting to be generous. But I mean, like, if we're coming from this energy, this Four of Pentacles, this is a very, like, I don't have enough to give. I don't want to give. I barely have what I need. And I feel like this Two of Pentacles is like, why don't you try going out on a limb? Have you tried going out on a limb? Oh, interesting. I grabbed that the wrong way. Interesting. And once you do, you got 2 8s. That is some major forward momentum on that. It's diligent work, and it makes moves. Diligent work that makes moves. It moves quickly, it comes in fast, but everything has to be, like, with the 8 of Rods, or the 8 of, Wands, this motion has to be very direct, very clear, and everything has to be moving in that direction. There has to be no resistance, which I'm sensing here with this Two of Swords, this the Five of Wands. There is not, if anything, is off kilter, I guess. Like that's the best way I can. If one of these is off kilter, and it will collide with the others and completely just halt the action or halt the forward momentum, or come short of the forward momentum you're trying to achieve. So there is a need for this. You see these pentacles here, and all of it coming out of the pentacles is that if you put in the diligent hard work every day, all of this moves forward for you. You have to be willing to go out on a limb. You have to be willing to not feel completely safe financially, because otherwise you get stuck with the 4. You'll never get past it. But these 8s are coming out together. That is really promising. Any other messages? What's this conflict about? What's the Five of Wands about? What's the Five of Wands about? Okay. Ooh. This is interesting. The Magician, the Knight of Wands, and the Hermit. With this Hermit in reverse, especially with this Knight of Wands in reverse, I feel this lack of desire, or not repugnation, what's the word? Repellence? Like a lot of resistance to inward looking. A lot of resistance to getting quiet, becoming silent, because there's a lot, I do feel like there's this unreliable figure. This could be a different person for you. This Knight of Wands here, that causes just stirs the pot. Stirs the pot so you can't get quiet enough to actually hear your own thoughts. The Hermit knows to go into isolation to seek inner wisdom, and then once they find that inner wisdom, shine that light out. But this Knight of Wands, I think there's also, how do I explain this? Like there's this desirable, oh, I just have to move forward and push forward, and if I just keep doing something, if I'm not then I'll be able to do whatever it is, or like something like that. I'm not entirely sure if I'm explaining that well, but there's this, and I haven't even gotten to the Magician, but there's this, like, I just want to be externally driven. I just want to act. I don't want to take the time it takes to actually get quiet. And this is a little different for both parties, or for whether you are your own worst enemy, Aries. You might be. I think we all end up being our own worst enemies. Where you just are, there's so much movement and cacophony in your mind that you can't really get quiet, and you kind of almost are afraid of it. But that's really messing with your ability to manifest. And that's right next to these cards, which really feel like where the manifestation will happen. But I think it's time to pull your oracle cards. And like I said, we will be doing that with the Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Archetypes. If you are interested in any of the decks that I use to read, if they are available for purchase, I have listed them in the description. Try to make this as accessible for everybody, because I know that a lot of the time when the decks I found that I really ended up loving were decks I've run into from readers I love. I figure if they're resonating with that deck, then I'll likely resonate with it too. I guess I'll shuffle over here. I'll ruin the spread. Alright. Also, if you're interested in seeing more readings from me, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell notification. If you are, if you want to claim this reading, if you want to exchange the energy for this reading, please hit the like button. It really helps. And if you'd like to talk to me about the reading, let me know how you felt about it, what's resonating, what isn't, how it's showing up in your life if you're willing to share. Or you just want to bring up any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to comment. I read them all currently, and they mean so much to me. And if you're interested in a personal reading, if you're vibing with me as a reader and you'd like a personal reading from me, there is a link in the description to my website, friendlymystic.com, where you can find all that information so we can connect and work together. Ooh. Whoopsie. I almost shuffled these backwards. I don't know if you can tell from where I'm at. Oh, you can barely see. There it is. I have a tiny table, so I'm working in limited space. But anyway, let's get these advice cards out for you. What advice do you have for Aries? What archetypes would be beneficial for them during this time to help with this death process? What archetypes? Oh, and that's 2. I usually like to pull 2. I might pull another if it calls. But the Self and the River. Interesting. I'm going to get those cards, or that the companion book. Now, immediately with the Self, I really get that sense of needing to get quiet enough to hear the Self, to know the Self, and not get caught up in whatever is going on, either outside of you or in you. It's getting quiet and centered to find the Self and what that is. Not the ego, the Self. Those are 2 different things, but let's read. There it is. Okay. I'll hold this up for you. The Self is the prism that allows the spectrum of our personalities to radiate. It does not judge, prohibit, suppress, or oppress any of its parts, as it lovingly knows that all aspects have a time and a place, and leads us to experience the full breadth of life's offerings. The Self is the central abiding container, the awareness of the infinite universe of possibilities. When this card appears, it's a call to step back into witness step back in to witness consciousness, to observe yourself navigating the world. Ask yourself, am I the stew or am I the chef? In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we swirl, spin, and smolder in chaos. Yet the Self is a graceful culinary dancer, watching, waiting, observing as the spectrum of ingredients become the flavor of our life. Look in the mirror for 30 seconds or more. Attempt to see the you behind the you. Yeah. Again, getting quiet, getting centered, witnessing, hearing, getting through the chaos and the impulse and the monkey mind to really get to what's happening interiorly, in your interior, and what aspect of yourself is, I guess, truest to you. Now let's look at the River, which I am very curious about. Let's hold this up for you to see. The River. There is a reason so many rituals of change and rebirth take place in the river. It is forgiveness embodied in physical form. Without asking anything in return, The river washes away what is no longer necessary, smoothing over sharp edges and accepting all our mistakes and grievances. Once we step in, we are no longer in control. The river carries us farther down the stream of transformation than we planned to go. Its waters have a special gift for reflecting back to us a new and dreamlike vision. Once the tears have passed, we see ourselves as we haven't before, with a little more lightness, grace, and fluidity. Keep in mind that you stand within the river. Within the river is the real you. Keep in mind the you that stands within the river is the real you, full of deep emotion and potential, nothing to hide, nothing to judge. May you drink in the sight of your true self. Wow, these really click with one another, finding the true self. But I do think that the river particularly is about forgiveness for whatever happened to you or whatever came up or is triggered by this proposal that you're being, well, I have the movies around, this proposal that you're being offered that scared you to run away, and the fear that you're feeling, to really forgive and like process what it was that put you in this state of scarcity, that put you in this state of withholding and not being free and flowing and fluid. You can get out of this Two of Swords state. But that's your reading. Aries, I hope that was helpful for you. I wish you all the best. And just the best of luck to you. Excuse me. Have a good one, Aries. Bye.